Hi, this is Krista at the Secret Yarnery. Today we are unboxing the Sentro 40 needle knitting machine. We're probably going to make something too. How cute is this? I'm in love with it. So just to give you an idea of size difference, this is the 48 and that is the 40. Can you see? So it's a little bit smaller by that much. Cute, right? So excited to open it. So excited to see how much smaller a hat would be. So what I'm thinking of doing, I'm gonna make the exact same hat on the 40 needle machine, a 50-gram ball of my regular Kenyan acrylic, which is a DK weight, a size 3 weight yarn. A thin size 3 weight yarn, and we'll see how that hat turns out. So let's get unboxing and see what's in there. Oh, neat. A little circular knitting needle thing. Circular knitting needles are great if you're knitting or you want to learn how to knit in real life. Starting with circular needles for anything is just my hot tip to you. So much easier. So really cool that they gave you a pair. That's fun. 3 more little skeins of yarn. These ones look all to be about the same weight. Interesting. Probably 25 grams. Really, really tiny. But they are cute, and that's what matters. Same pack of accessories. Suction cups and screws, our 4 legs, the tension adjuster, little crochet hook, and 2 needles. So that's cool. I'm really impressed that you get a knitting needle, a circular knitting needle. Can't stress enough how this will change your life if you are learning to knit. Circular needles are so great. So our legs, we're going to start by putting our suction cups on. And move that out of the way for a minute. Cute little instructions on how to do it, which I like the color. And the instruction book, okay, interesting. Well, I like this better than the big one. I did not get all these instructions with the big one. So you get better instructions with the small machine. So screwdriver and screws. We're going to start by putting on our suction cups. And we have to get them right into that little notch, which is hard to do. So I suggest getting a crochet hook that you don't really like that much, but is strong, and use it to help push that suction cup into that foot spot. So all of my little legs have feet, and we can turn our machine over upside down to fit them into these slots. Oh. So just pop in like that. Now you need to take your screwdriver and your screw and put it right in that hole and screw them in. So all the legs are on and we can flip our machine up. Now we want to put on that little tension feed, this little guy, and we want it to go right in this little nook. So we just have to kind of muscle it in there like that. Next, we want to check our little button here if you'd want to do a tube or a panel. I always like to start with a tube just because it's more fun. And set your machine down with your tension feed facing you and push it onto your surface. Now my surface is not flat. It's a bit textured, so I normally do all of my knitting over on this other little table there where it sticks really, really great. But for filming, I'm going to be doing it here. So let's go around and look for that first peg. So for the Sentro 40 needle, the needles are all white, and the needle you're looking for is a black. That black one there. So what I like to do is just start by marking the top of that ridge before the black needle. Just with a Sharpie, just want to mark that ridge before the black needle, just so I can see where it is when it's working its way around. Now I can see where it is, I don't get surprised. We want this black peg right where our feed guide is. So I have my 50 grams of yarn. This is Winter King. It is a 4-ply yarn or a DK 3-weight yarn. It is produced locally in Kenya and does not have yardage on it. And I'm also going to be using a couple balls of waste yarn just to get me started and to finish off so that the middle part, what I want to keep for the hat, is all pretty stitches. So now position your machine so your feed guide or your yarn guide is right in front of you. And we want to work our way around until our starting peg is right there. Get your waste yarn ready and put a loop right around that black peg. Make sure it's underneath on that hook part. And now we just want to weave our way around. So I went in front of the black, behind, in front, behind, in front, behind, all the way around. So just go slowly in front and behind, just weaving this starting waste yarn around your pegs, in front and behind, in front and behind, all the way around until you get back to that starting peg. So right when we get back to that black peg, we're going to use our feed guide. So we're just going to put our yarn into that guide, making sure it gets down into that little bit at the front. That bit sticking out, we want to make sure it goes into that lower feed. Also feed it through your tension guide. And now work your way around. I go pretty slow for the first round. You can hear it crunching a little bit. And now keep going around. You want to go around about 10 times, or I'm going to go until my waste yarn is finished. My yarn's almost finished. Keep an eye for that black peg that's coming around. You want to go just around that black peg and then drop that yarn into the center, just kind of holding on to it for a bit. And now get the yarn ready that you want to use for your hat. Center pull always works best. It eases up the tension. We want to leave a long enough tail to sew our hat together along the top. So put maybe 12 or 14 inches into the center. Your yarn through that feed guide and through the tension at the bottom. And just hold it a little bit while you work your way around. There you are. And now just keep cranking until you have finished your yarn. When your yarn is almost finished, we want to get back to that black peg. And we want to keep going until our yarn is around that black peg. And now take your yarn and just kind of put it in the middle and grab your second ball of waste yarn, starting that one just into that feed guide, making sure it gets right down into the bottom. And now you can just kind of hold those two strands together as we do our next round. There we go. And now just keep going with your waste yarn until you have used it up or you have finished about 10 rows. Now when your yarn is almost finished, keep an eye for that black peg when it comes around. And we would just want to make sure we finish around that black peg. So we're always starting and finishing around this black peg. So now hold your tail inside, and now we're just going to keep cranking. No yarn in our feeder. And now you can see it's coming separate. It's coming right off of our pegs. Perfect. So now the magic. Uncurl those ends so you're holding the working yarn right where that color change is, and give it a pull. And then just use your arm to pull each end, just to get those pretty little knit stitches showing up, and on the other end as well. So now we have this super long tube. We can just fold it in half. So put your arm in and grab that yarn and just find like a halfway spot and pull it through. And now we want to find our yarn. So we have our join on the outside and we have our join on the inside. Get your two strands of yarn you used for your hat. And I just knot those together just lightly. I want to just keep those in the same spot. And now go ahead and thread your needle. And for sewing my hats, I like to use a blunt tip needle. And now we're just going to go along and find our knit stitches. We want to go pick up our loop and pick up the opposite loop. Like that. So the first loop of your hat color towards you and the last loop on the other side. And we're just picking up those two stitches like a little whip stitch. So loop right in front of you and the last loop farthest away, same color as your hat. And that's why you want to use a contrasting yarn for your waste yarn, so you can really see those stitches easy. So now keep going, working all the way around, picking up each stitch from both ends of your hat. Now all the way back to where we started, make sure you get into those strands right where you knotted your yarn or did that little loose knot. You want to make sure you've grabbed both of those loops as well. To remove your waste yarn of where we started, where we did that looping back and forth around the pegs, find where your tail is and then just go to the other side and roll it all up. You will see this strand right at the top. We want to just pull it. So don't worry, you'll be able to see it. And flip it again, roll it over so you can work from the other side. You can take quite a bit of it out at the same time. So our working tail is way over here. So the opposite side, roll it up. Find that string at the very top, that little drawstring, and pull it. And there is our last one. Now we can just frog this like usual. And that one's taken out. The other side is even easier because we don't have any tail to unpick. We can just straight frog it. And now take a quick look along the top. We want to make sure we've picked up all of those loops, that there isn't one just kind of that we forgot about. And now find that tail that we sewed our loops together and just give it a pull. Want to snug that right up. And now we can go ahead and knot those 2 yarns. Thread your needle again. And now we just kind of want to cinch up this little hole. So I'm just going to go in to a few of those strands all the way around and give it a pull. Now we can give that another little knot. Thread both those tails onto your needle, and we want to put them into the other side of the hat, so just down in the middle there and inside out your hat. Just want to check that this side is nice and sealed shut. It looks good to me. You can put a pom-pom if you would like. And now we've already knotted our yarn, so now I'm just going to hide our tails. So I'm just going to pop it into a bunch of this fat part of the hat. And now we can cut them off. And that's our first little hat with the Sentro 40 needle machine. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little tutorial. Such a cute little hat, right? Definitely smaller than the other one. So this is the hat we just made with that 40 needle machine, and this is with the 48. It has been worn a little bit, but you can see it's the same amount of yarn, but you do get a much narrower hat with the 40 needle machine. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Let me know how it turned out for you in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay hooked.